Hello there, fellow producers, and welcome to another Bass Brothers HARDSTYLE tutorial. And today, I don't know if this is going to be a long or short one, but we'll see in the end. Today we are making a melody, and I'm sharing some tips and tricks about making melodies, so let's check it out! And first things first, if you are frequently coming to our channel, please subscribe, leave a like, comment down below, ask us questions, whatever you like. And now that's out of the way, let's move on to the melody tutorial. And this was recently asked in our last video's comments, that how you can make chords out of a lead. So this is I try to make this as simple as possible, a melody tutorial, and share some tips and tricks on how to improve them and how you can utilize different tools if you're not familiar with music theory. And we also are not music theory experts or anything like that. We haven't studied any of it. Basically just learned over the years, and we still might make some mistakes. So again, this is not cold hard truth. This is just our experience and expertise, and we are showing things to you. So I think first we make a melody, and you can see how one way to do melodies, and how to utilize different kinds of tools, and if you're not inspired or anything, how you can make a simple melody like uninspired moments. And then I'm going to show a few tips on how to improve those melodies, and yeah, I guess that's everything I can teach. There might be some other aspects and things that I can't think of right now, but please do leave a comment, ask us questions, maybe we can answer those and help you out that way. So, first things first. I have a empty project here, and it's on 150 BPM, and I deleted all the unnecessary plugins, and there's, the mixer is empty, and we have just a sampler here, and we are going to use FL keys to make the melody, so it's just a piano sound, and then we are going to transpose those into our lead project, which is a project we use to refine our leads and refine our melodies before we put those into any project. So, and now before we start, of course, to make things correct, you need to work in some sort of a scale. Depending on what kind of music you are producing, if you are working with hardstyle, usually you want to go with a minor scale. But that's not entirely true. You can make in a major scale as well. For example, Vikas does some major scale melodies, and of course the major scale sounds a little bit more happier, and the minor scales are just a bit darker, and it depends on a lot of things, but usually hardstyle is made in minor keys, minor scales. If you're producing some other genre, maybe just dig a little deeper, find out which are the most commonly used scales in your type of music, and you can utilize those and use those scales. And for sake of this tutorial, we are going to pick, I think, one of the most common scales used in hardstyle, and that is F minor. And we also like to work in F minor most of the times. And examples on which tracks are in F minor. The track we did with Sasha F, the Our World, that's in F minor. And if you are writing your melodies in that scale, you are going to get that type of feeling in your track. Yes. So first, of course, we need to put the scale into our piano roll. And if you are working with FL Studio, you can utilize the ghost notes. And this is really handy when you are writing your melodies. If you don't have any keyboard, like I don't have, your keyboard is basically your mouse and clicking stuff. Then you might want to utilize the ghost notes. And how you can enable those, most of you I think know this, but in piano roll you have this triangle here with the piano roll options, and you can go into view, and here you have ghost channels. Make sure this is enabled, and there's a short key for that, which is Alt plus B. Of course, you can make the ghost notes editable on any piano roll as well, but maybe disable this one. You don't need that. So let's make an F minor scale, and you can find all the scales from the good old internet. So I googled F minor scale, clicked on the first link, and got this as a result. And here we can find the F minor scale. Let me put it on the other screen, and let's transpose it here. And let's make a short melody, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beats. So all the way to here. And let's make long notes which are covering the whole melody. So the F minor scale goes like this. You have the white keys, which are F, G, and C, and then you have all the black keys except you don't want the F sharp. And I think this is the easiest way to remember the scale. F, G, C, and all the black keys except F sharp. There you go, that's the F minor key scale. And now I'm just going to copy this on different octaves. Let's go one more higher, like so. Down here. Oops. And down here. So I just copied the whole scale and transposed it few octaves higher, few octaves lower, and now we have, these are all the notes that you are going to use in F minor scale. And I think the easiest way to start making a melody, if you have no inspiration or whatsoever, is first to make a bass line, then make the chords, and last make the top lead. And of course you can start with anything you like. You can start with the top melody, you can start with the chords or anything you like, but the easiest way, I think, is to start with the bass line. So let's add FL keys and let's call this the bass line. And now let's make a simple bass line using the scale which we just made. So now the sky is the limit, and you can do whatever you like, use whatever notes you want in the scale, but few things in consideration. Always when you're making a bass line, you're going to make the hardstyle kicks in the climax part of your track, where there's kick and the melody. You want to keep in mind that the bass line is in the same notes that you are going to pitch your kicks. And from experience, I can say almost always the lowest key or the lowest note which you can go with the kick and still get a great sounding sub bass and a bass is F. Don't go any lower than F. This is just to make sure that everything works. And you can maybe go 1 or 2 notes below the F, but I don't recommend it. And usually keep the F as your lowest note. And now you can basically start creating your bass line. And I have no idea what kind of bass line would be good. Let's try something like this. I think this note might be a little bit too high, but it all depends on your kick. If you can pitch it high like this, it's quite many notes up. It might be better here, but let's try, and we can always tweak the melody anytime you like. And this is just to create a basic structure, so to speak. So now that we have a bass line here, we can now make a chords. Let's clone the bass line and rename this chords. And we are going to make these chords out of this bass line. So we can copy the bass line into the chords. And now we can start build our chord progression. So usually you want to keep things again simple. So 3-note chords. You can always utilize the FL Studio's stamp option. Here you have all the different types of chords already, and you can use these, or you can play it by ear, or just out of your knowledge. If you know the chords which are in F minor scale, then do as you please. But this is a simple way. If you're following this tutorial, you can do it like this. You can copy the bass line onto chords, and then you can copy the notes and paste them and transpose these higher, so that you have one note in the between of the scale you're working with. And now we can already see there are a few mistakes, but we are going to address those. So we can't use the B note. Let's transpose this to C. We can't use the F sharp, so this goes to G, here to C, and this should work just fine. Okay, and now we can copy these the bassline notes one more time. And let's now keep 2 notes in the between and correct the ones that are not in the scale. And you can always tweak these like however you like. Just keep the bassline notes. Actually, let's keep this right here for the sake of this tutorial. And now you can see the chords are actually all over the place. Now you can use you can change these and invert the chords. And just as a reference, you don't want the chords go in the piano roll like this or something weird. You should try to make them more unified so it's easier to listen. And I can already tell that there are a few notes, the higher ones, which I want to transpose 1 octave lower. So I painted all these notes, and now I'm going to transpose these 1 octave lower, like so. And there are actually a few chords I don't like. Let's put this back here again. And these are crap. Let's try something else. And now let's transpose these again. And you can still transpose this because this is out of line. Let's put it 1 octave lower as well. And now we have simple chords, and they are quite unified. And let's try now making a rhythm for these. There are multiple ways you can do it. You can just make your own rhythm, or you can copy from an existing melody. If you like some, for example, if you like one of our tracks and you like the melody's rhythm, you can always copy that. You can copy from any melody. The rhythm is something that you cannot copy, right? So you can use that. And the same rhythms have been used over and over again. And the chord progression as well. Those are not copyrighted, so you can use any chord progression that has already been made. That's fine. I don't recommend to do that, but you can do it. And if I'm wrong, please leave a comment that you're full of shit. Okay, let's make a rhythm. That was a wrong plugin. Let's put the FL keys. Let's rename this. I don't know if you spell it like that. Now it's spelled just like that. Actually, you learn some Finnish. The rhythm in Finnish is called rytmi, so we are using that. There you go. And now let's mute the chords and the bass line, and let's use some rhythm. There are ways in FL Studio, for example, where you can find some rhythms. It's just make a long note or make 2 notes, like so. You can select them all, and where was it? Just a second. Tools, and you can arpeggiate this, for example. And you can find different type of arpeggiators here in FL Studio, and you can try these out. Try different time multiplicators or different gate settings or different patterns, flip, alternate. Just try different things until you find some kind of rhythm you like. For example, something like this. Now you have a rhythm, and let's make this all in 1 note, like so. And now you can start getting creative and change this a little bit. For example, like, let me just make something. We have the 4. Let's try something like that sounds stupid. Let's try something like this. Okay, that's good enough for now. And let's copy and paste this. And now we have some kind of rhythm. Now you can actually transpose this. Let's copy like this and put it on the bass line. Let's put it 1 octave higher so it's easier to change this. And now let's just make the bass line out of this. So let's delete the F notes, change these here in the F. Let's make the G sharps. Like so. Let's make the A sharps. There we go. And the D sharp as well. And now we have rhythm in our bass line. And now we can copy this rhythm also to the chords. And there goes my microphone. Don't know what the hell happened there. Or was it because of the OBS? But let's continue with the voiceover. So now I'm changing the notes. Same way they are in the chords. So first I'm doing the lower ones. As you can see, we're going the same notes as are the lower ones in the chords. And now let's copy and paste it. And let's move on to the second notes. So there's G sharps 2 times. Then there's C. So let's transpose this to C. There you go. This one goes to A sharp. Then again, there are 2 G sharps and then 2 A sharps. So let's do that. And the last one, same way as the previous ones. We are changing the notes to correspond with the chord notes. And to be honest, this is fucking stupid. You are recording a 1-hour tutorial and the microphone says, fuck you. And I made a little mistake. The rhythm is all over the place. They are not working at the moment. So I'm fixing that. But still, let's move this all the way to the front. And there we go. Sounds decent enough. And now that we have the chords and the bass line and the rhythm, it's time to move on to the top lead. And basically we are using the same rhythm as in the bass line and the chords. So we are copying the rhythm to the top lead. And then let's just utilize the notes which are in the F minor scale. And those are, if I didn't say earlier, are as in light gray in the piano roll. And I think here is the part where I tell that you should always try to minimize the note movements in the melody and don't try to make big jumps like that from D sharp to G sharp. Of course you can do that, but for the sake of this tutorial, you want to keep things simple and easier for the listener. And of course you can make the whole melody based on the chords and use the chord notes, and that's the safe way, but that's also the boring way. So now I'm just trying different stuff and try to make a simple bassline, top lead, and try to make something that makes a little bit sense with the chords and the bassline. And again, usually this is for us, this is a trial and error process. So just try different things out and you'll get it. Sometimes it comes naturally, you get it really fast, and sometimes it takes a while to get things working out. And I have no idea what I'm saying here. Just trying to remember. I don't know what the hell is that guy talking about. Sorry, I'm not going to record the whole 1 hour tutorial again. Yeah. So now it's just trying to make some kind of a melody. And as you can see, I'm using the notes which are in the scale. I'm not using any of the, the darker spots on the piano roll because they are not in the scale. And again, as you can see, this is just trial and error. I'm just changing notes that I don't like to more something appealing and something a little bit more interesting. And just doing the first half of the melody, and then it's easier to just copy and paste the first part to the second part, and then do the little changes that you want to make the other parts ending or some other part of the melody more different, more interesting. Just something like, the melody experts always say about the question and answer thing. Haven't really, learned the question and answer thing properly, so this is how we do it. Now we are happy at this moment, so copy and paste it is, and then there is going to be changes in the last part of the melody to make it somewhat interesting. Okay, there is the result at the moment. There will be changes later on, but let's roll with that one now. And I guess now was the time that we are starting to do harmonics for this top lead. And the point of harmonics is just to enrich the sound, to make the lead on its own, the notes sound a little bit more bigger, basically making chords out of the top lead. And yes, we are doing that. So we are putting two new FL keys, calling them Harmonics 1 and Harmonics 2. And now we are starting to create the harmonics. And this is somewhat, again, trial and error thing. There are things you can do to save time and, make things easier. But you always need to tweak them, and you'll hear soon enough. And I'm already tweaking the melody. And as you can see, when I'm correcting melody, it's just automatically going more like you know, one note per in the scale, so there's not a lot of jumps, and it makes the whole sound more easy to listen. And now I'm changing the second part to correspond to the first part. And there we go. Now I seem to be happy with the melody. And the voiceover continues, and now we are trying to make the harmonies. So I guess the next step is we are copying the melody to the harmonics 1, and now I'm going to transpose the harmonics 1 on the scale 2 notes up, and let's start working with there. 1, 2. And time to correct the first mistakes. As you can see, there are notes which are not in scale, and we are trying to either putting them one note higher, so they're in scale, or one note lower and they're still in the scale, whichever sounds the best. That's the whole point. Trying to find something that works with the melody and works with the chords. And there we go. One note down was the perfect play. And as you can hear, normally it's a little bit dissonant and it doesn't sound good. Let's try with the D note and try with the C sharp. And there we have the B note, which is again not in the scale, so A sharp it is. And here we have an A note that's not in the scale, and we are putting it in the G sharp. And it might sound bad, and you need to tweak these. In my opinion, you need to tweak these a lot to make them sound good. And the A was wrong, so G sharp it is. And as long as the harmonics are different notes that are the top lead and they are in the scale, you're good to go. And of course the harmonics 2 can't be the same notes as harmonics 1 and the top lead, so they need to be different as well, because if they're the same note, it doesn't fulfill its purpose. And now I'm trying different things, which work and which don't. And sometimes when you're working with a piano sound like this, things might sound stupid. And when you're putting them in your lead project, they actually might sound really good and fulfill the things that were missing. And now I was transposing the melody down on the harmonics 2. And I just missed how much down. But again, we are changing the notes so they are in the scale. and let's try to fix those as well if they need something. As you can hear, there are some weird notes, and it was completely wrong, so I tried again, and this time transposed it so it goes 2 notes down on the scale compared to the top lead. And now try different notes. And there's a mistake. Again, I'm just trying different results and let's see what works and what doesn't. And just play around with the notes in the scale. There might be some that work, some that don't work, some that work and just a little bit and others better. There are multiple different ways to do it, but this is one way and this is, I think, the easiest way to do it. And of course, you can always skip these harmonics. The melody doesn't need harmonics, it's just an extra thing. You don't have to do this. And I've just disabled the chords so I can hear only with the top lead how it sounds. And they seem to work pretty well. Just making sure that everything sounds the way I liked and doing maybe some tweaking here and there. And again, you know, these are not necessary, these harmonics, but now you know how to make them. And this answers to the question that was asked on YouTube on how you make chords out of top lead. This is one way to approach it. And if you have the top lead and you need to make the simple chords, which we did after the bass line, just try different chords which work with the top lead. Just check out what note is the first note in your top lead and try to make chord which consists that note. It usually works. So, for example, if you have the first note is F, then you can use a chord where there is an F note. And now I'm explaining that after you've done this, you can start tweaking the chords and just keep it in the, you know, the scale, and you can try to make different variations of the chords. But keep in mind, when you are changing these, don't change the note which is the bassline note in the chords, because if you do that, you need to also change the bass line. So this is just for an example. I'm not going to change this, but this is just to show you that you can do things like this and try different stuff. Just be creative. There are not many rules in producing music and writing melodies, and I think the most important one is just stay in the scale you are working with, and everything else is just your creativity. And now we are going to move these MIDIs into our lead project, and I was making a stupid joke here that with the magic of editing, when I snap my fingers, we are going to get this into the other project. So, something like this. Here we are. So now I have put the lead, harmonics, chords, bassline into our lead project where we test our stuff, like the melodies, tweak the leads and so on. So now we can hear what it might sound like with the proper sounds. And I can already hear there are some changes I want to make in the rhythm, and I'm going to do something really fast, just changing the rhythm, and nothing too special about that. So I'm starting with the lead, so I'm muting the bass line, the harmonics and the chords and the other lead layers. So I have one lead layer playing at the moment, and then I'm making the changes here, and then I'm copying the changes to every single one of the layers and instruments. And I can hear something weird happening with the sound. I don't know if there's something wrong with my sound card or what the hell is the problem, and why did the microphone cut off. I need to get a look into that. Okay, for now that's a little bit better, so time to copy and paste this, and the leads are now copied and pasted, and then also the same rhythm changes need to be made in the harmonics, in the chords, and in the bass line, and that's what we are doing right here. And this is not relevant for the tutorial, but when you are making things, you know, as you go, there might be some irrelevant stuff, and this is it. And now, same with the chords. There we go. Time to copy and paste it to the other layers. Like so. And lastly, the bass line. And one more layer, and I guess we are pretty much done. I have no idea what was the last things I said in the end of this tutorial, but let me make something up. And there we go. That was the end result, and it's a decent melody. Not a great one, not a bad one, but okay. And insert a Chernobyl meme here. And if you got inspired by this melody or you liked it, send a message from Instagram, leave a comment, leave something that, tell us that you want this MIDI and we'll give it to you. We are not giving this, free for everybody, but if you really need this, just message us and we'll give those MIDIs to you. We are not going to use this on ourselves. And I don't know what the hell am I talking here anymore, so I think I'm going to edit this a little bit. And just to wrap things up a little bit, this is one of the simplest way to make a melody if you're not inspired, and this is of course not the only way. I tried to make this as simple as possible so everybody can follow it and make their own. And first get a key scale you want to work with. In this case it was F minor. Put the scale in the DAW you are working with and just keep on to those notes, and then start with the bass line. One tip was to don't go below the F note in the bass line, and then make the chords out of the bass line. Transpose those notes in the chords which are, all over the place, to try to make it more unified chord progression. It makes it easier to listen. And after you've done that, you can start with the top melody. Easiest way to do the top melody is to follow the chord progression and use those chord MIDI notes you have. Of course, you can do anything you like, and just stay within the scale you are working with. And after the top lead, you can make the harmonics, and the harmonics are basically chords made out of the lead, and make them so they fit both the chords and the top lead, and make sure you are not using at least the same notes as are in the lead. That's basically it. And I think you need to just try and do your own stuff. We've made like hundreds of melodies over the years, and that's just, you need to practice and practice until you can get good. Of course, there are talented people who don't need to practice that much, but even they need to practice and know more to, develop themselves to be a better music writer. And I guess those things are the ones that matter and help you get better melodies, I hope. I don't know what else to say. You can always, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave a thumbs down. And if you are frequently coming to our channel, please subscribe. And if you have any questions, you didn't understand something on this tutorial, please leave a comment and reach out to us and ask, because people learn in different paces. So if you're making one tutorial, not everybody can learn at the same pace and same time. And if there's any confusion and you didn't understand something, please just ask. We try to explain things so everybody understands. And now I remember I was talking in the end, we are making a MIDI package for our web shop, and it's going to be huge, like Donald Trump would say. There's going to be lots of building blocks, so there are different types of rhythms, chord progressions, top leads, all in the different scales, and basically those are, they're building blocks for you to make your own melodies. Of course, there's nothing wrong with to use the melodies that are in the MIDI package itself, but I would recommend that you try to combine and do things your way and get inspired by that. And it's somewhere along the winter when we are releasing that package. So not really soon, but early next year you should expect that one to come. Yeah. Now I think I've told everything. And let's edit this a little bit and listen to the final product one more time. And let's see you again in the next tutorial. Peace out.